I am very excited because I was finally able to recover a damaged cassette tape. It took me a year, to be precise. It has been exactly a year ago from today. Today is October 31st. What you are about to listen to is a damaged cassette tape that I had recovered. Some of the audio is so damaged I had to record my own voice for those missing segments. If this cassette tape sounds familiar to you, you may have listened to it before, but now you get to hear the whole thing. Just to remind you, I found this cassette tape while walking in a cemetery. And what's so interesting is that I happened to find this cassette tape lying on the ground a few yards away from where the Rhea monument stands. The cassette tape I found must have belonged to a young teenager named Parker. Forgive me if the sound quality is distorted. I apologize, there were some missing sections, but again, I filled those sections in with my own voice. I hope you enjoy listening, and remember, you are the eyes and ears of Lost Lake. Together, we can make this town a better place. Cassette tape begins now. Tonight is Halloween.
My friends and I decided to finally go to the abandoned house in the cemetery. It's been there for over a decade.
My friends and I were standing in front of the abandoned house. I had that fluttery feeling that you get in the pit of your stomach when you know something bad is going to happen. My conscience was doing backflips, warning me about where I was. But I didn't want to be a loser, so I put on a brave face. I didn't warn my friends. I was being a coward in the moment.
I knew Maverick was going to dare me to go inside, and I was right. He dared me to go inside.
I felt lightheaded, and I started to feel a little dizzy at just the thought of walking up to that ominous house.
Even though I had this funny feeling, I ignored it. I told myself if anything happens, I can be the brave one. I felt a little more comforted thinking maybe I can do it for them, to give them a good time.
To give them a fun Halloween night.
Stop being a sissy boy. I gotta grow up, and I gotta be a man. I started walking up to the abandoned house. My heart was also doing backflips, not just my conscience. Each step I took towards the house, my heart would just pound harder, causing me to sweat a little.
I gotta think about my friends.
I made my way up the 3 steps and walked out onto the small porch. There was a torn up, weather-damaged sign that said, "Private property, keep out."
I had to ignore it. My eyes were drawn to the door.
It was pretty old and beaten.
Of course, most of the paint had peeled off by now, leaving a nice, shabby chic look.
Just kidding. It was creepy as heck.
It was like a scene from a cheesy horror movie.
All the windows partly broken.
I extended out my hand to reach for the doorknob. I started hearing a weird noise, almost like breathing or whispering.
Whispering.
Something soft.
Something soft. I didn't like this at all, but my stubbornness kept me moving, even though everything inside me kept screaming,
Don't do this.
I extended out my hand to reach for the doorknob.
I paused. I was so distracted by that
I
noise.
swear, even while I'm reporting what happened, I swear I heard a soft noise coming from behind me.
And then I felt a breath on the back of my head. On my neck.
On my neck.
I dared not to move a muscle.
What was that noise? I heard it directly from behind my ear, not whispering. Breathing.
Breathing in my ear. I swear, from behind me.
It would have distracted me, except I caught something in the corner of my eye. I just had to look. So I did. With my hand still resting on the doorknob, I readjusted my eyes, and sure enough,
It was exactly what my fear expected.
someone
In the window. Someone in the window. Someone was staring at me through the broken window.
felt like static went through my entire body, from my feet to my head, making me feel lightheaded again. I took a few breaths and tried not to think about it or panic. There was no way I was going to risk going in now. The whole scenario felt like a warning.
A warning. Keep out. I hope that the person didn't see me looking at it or him.
I quickly turned around and allowed my adrenaline to take over, and I said to my friends, you know what, on second thought, let's not go in there. Not today. My imagination was running through all the different scenarios of terrible things that could happen. All my friends booed me. Aw, come on, Parker, don't be a wet blanket. I said, no guys, really, please don't go in there. My best friend, Ben, stood up for me and said,
Yeah, I'm with Parker on this one. If he says it's not a good idea, we shouldn't do it.
let's just go home, you guys.
Maverick said, we didn't come out all this way just so you guys can wimp out.
Maverick bravely shoved me aside, or did so foolishly, and marched up the steps, turned the knob, and the door opened with one big creaking sound, and then slammed behind him. And then there was a loud pause of silence. I remember thinking, oh God, I shouldn't have let him go in there.
I should have tried harder.
My other friend Randy really wanted to go in after him. Justice said, I bet this whole thing is just one of Maverick's pranks. I replied, if it's not one of his pranks,
What if something or someone really was in there? I told her maybe we should call the cops, but she seemed to think we would get in trouble. I couldn't stop her.
she took all the rest of my friends with her, even Randy and Ben. They all just kinda laughed at me. There was nothing I could do at this point but just watch them all go in. I was the outcast again, always trying to save them, always trying to undo their mistakes and save their behinds. But I never get thanked, do I? They don't even know. It's always the quiet ones, isn't it? Quiet ones are always being left behind and laughed at, aren't they? The door opened again with a wide swing and a loud creak. They left the door open and started walking into the house. I heard them calling out each other's names and the door slammed shut behind them. Silence for a while. And then I heard a few screams. God, I never wanted to do this. I never wanted this to happen. Forget my stupid adrenaline. Forget my stupid fears. I'm gonna try to save them. I ran through the house and I swung the door wide open and I peered into the darkness. There was a wide open staircase right in front of me, and all my friends were sprawled out. I heard a sinister laugh echoing through the entire house. I quickly put my hand in my pocket, preparing for what was going to happen. I didn't want to look, but I just kept staring into the darkness. I saw a ghostly figure of a hideous woman starting to come towards me on the staircase. The sinister laughing came closer to me. It felt like I was on a fast elevator going down. I didn't want to see all the details, but I knew it wasn't good. It was red all over, and the woman was getting closer. I knew I didn't want to run. I had to stay strong.
I could die. I might die.
Death was walking towards me, but that woman, I felt like I've seen her before. Then a name came to my mind.
Rhea. That woman.
That woman, she looks like the statue.
I quickly reached into my pocket. I know who she is now. That woman.
That woman?
Her name is Rhea.
Don't worry, man. I'm gonna fix this.